Welcome to Fiery Discourse, your podcast and media featuring dragonesses, female dinosaurs, and other similar saurians and scalies. I'm your host, Ludmillanon, and with me are my co-hosts, Angron, Mathmachine, and the Shark. Today is our 128th episode, our second Jurassic July episode of the year, and we're talking about the 2021 Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous episode, A Beacon of Hope. So, let's get things started.
Jurassic World just really makes me wanna hurl. All the dinosaurs are obsolete. Wait a minute.
A great way to tie into last week's, that's for sure. Go ahead, Matt.
You stood on the shoulders of geniuses to accomplish something as fast as you could, and before you knew what you had, you patented it, and you packaged it, and you slapped it on an animated TV series. And now you're selling it.
Nice.
Perfect.
Nice.
Yeah, classic. But yeah, so Jurassic Park, of course, is a huge success, and started a major, literally billion-dollar franchise. So it's odd that it took them so long to get an animated series. I do know there was a Jurassic Park TV series planned in the 90s, but for some reason or other, it never got off the ground, which is weird because you think that everything got an animated show. You figured, oh, hey, Jurassic Park, no-brainer. But didn't happen. So this show basically takes place in the Jurassic World continuity and is about a group of teens at a summer camp on Jurassic World as they get trapped there because of the events of the movie and how they survive. So basically, the premise sounds like Lord of the Flies with dinosaurs, but it's a bit more like another type of survival movie, and we'll get to why in a little bit. And yeah, this episode, A Beacon of Hope, is the first of the second season, and this actually takes place right after the events of the dinosaur rampages on Jurassic World, kind of showing like the aftermath once literally everybody got off the island. And it's pretty interesting. Like I say, it actually is better than the last three Jurassic World movies, although of course that's not a high bar to clear. I'll go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, barring... That's me. Barring Jurassic World, I do agree that Fallen Kingdom, as much as it's a bit of a guilty pleasure for me, and Dominion, we're definitely not up to snuff compared to this show.
What happens is the show starts. Usually we don't talk about this, but this is so awesome. I kind of have to talk about this. The show begins with basically the Universal logo, which spins to reveal the DreamWorks logo on the Earth, and then spins again to reveal the Angron logo. We then zoom in on the Earth into a mysterious jungle before it stops at the Jurassic Park gates. And then what happens, of course, is Rexy bursts through with the iconic roar, and that's literally the opening to the show. And I'm going to be honest, it is probably one of the more unique show openings I have ever seen. I don't know about you guys, but I really kind of dug this.
Yeah, there have been a lot of unique openings in the day, and Camp Cretaceous certainly is one of those. Like, yeah, you've got some other stuff like Wild Pack, the occasional season openers for Dragon Prince, yada yada yada. But yeah, Camp Cretaceous does a very unique thing with its openings that I definitely encourage other shows to do as well, because this right here definitely gives you an idea of what you're going in for. You're coming in for Jurassic Park / World. You're not coming in for bugs. You're not coming in for preschool shenanigans, although a preschool with baby dinosaurs in the same vein as something like Gecko Godzilla or maybe the Godzilla preschool anime would be very interesting. But no, you're in here for dinosaurs, unadulterated, not no holds barred dinosaurs.
Yep.
Exactly. Yeah, you definitely got it right there because it really is a great thing, But basically, the episode begins really interestingly too because it kind of shows like the events of what happened after Jurassic World, because we see an Ankylosaurus walking past an overturned Jurassic World Jeep and a bunch of compies playing in an abandoned gyrosphere. A Brontosaurus sees a pterodon which screeches at her, and it's revealed they're walking right by the totally destroyed monorail. And like I say, a raptor runs through a corridor before we see a group of dinosaurs walking through a broken gate and a group of stegosaurus walking through foliage. And this is something that it kind of scratches the itch that the other Jurassic World movies never gave, which is let's see the abandoned dinosaurs live in the ruins of the theme park. Like, how the hell would they survive in like the totally destroyed ruins, you know? I feel like that's something that the movies did not give us at all, and I'm glad this show at least gave us some interesting stuff like that. Oh, go ahead, Angron.
I wholeheartedly agree. Stuff like this definitely adds a bit of life to the dinosaurs, which I 100% am for. Also, that shot of like the ceratopsians and the freaking ankylosaurs and whatnot, just passing by the gate, being like, "Oh, hey, morning, morning, Darla, morning, Sheila." But it honestly made me giggle a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely can see why. Go ahead, yeah, sorry, Matt.
You want the dinosaur movies to have a slight focus on the dinosaurs? What's wrong with you?
Oh, right, I forgot. Yeah, we have to do giant bugs and clone girls, and like now we're doing mutant like dinosaur hybrid things. Yeah, no, people don't want to see actual dinosaurs. That's silly.
You got it.
Unless
Exactly.
that clone girl was a freaking anthro dinosaur, I ain't interested.
Yeah. But basically, we then cut to the Nublar 6, or now the Nublar 5, for reasons we'll get to in a little bit.
Yep.
Running away from a duck-billed dinosaur, which in turn is being chased by a T-Rex. Darius sees a giant log and tells you to hide behind it. And they should know better than to hide behind a giant log because King Kong's going to pick it up just to fight the T-Rex with. I mean, they should know these things by now.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like, what did this camp teach them? But the T-Rex's tail nearly gets them as they hide in the log, and we hear the T-Rex kill the other dinosaur off screen. Oh, go ahead, Shark.
Yeah, this is the part that really caught me off guard and told me, oh, okay, this show is gonna be different than... When I started watching this, I thought it was gonna be another case of the Dragon one, where, oh, they're gonna take this franchise and they're gonna kiddie fire, and it's not gonna get violent because, oh, we're just gonna see the characters run away from dinosaurs. But then, no, you actually hear the other dinosaur kill the other one, and not only that, you actually see the corpse being dragged around. So yeah, it's like, oh, okay, they didn't shy away from being like the actual movies where there's actual death and there's actual violence.
You expected early series troll hunters, but instead you're getting late series troll hunters with this. Like, the gloves are off. You are legit seeing a dinosaur get eaten by another dinosaur, which is the tamest thing you could possibly see compared to an actual human getting eaten by a dinosaur, which is worse.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, too, I think Spielberg himself actually helped out with this show to make sure it felt like the movies, which makes you wonder why he didn't help out with the other Jurassic World movies, but that's neither here nor there.
I think he liked this more.
Easily. But what happens is Kenji asks why there are so many dinosaurs around, as Brooklyn jokes that it's either, quote, his boyish good looks or the fences are down. Sammy agrees with Brooklyn, as Yasmina just wants something to eat, knowing that they haven't eaten since Ben gave them carob bars, as they then all get quiet and stare basically at the ground and don't want to talk about it. So Ben basically was one of their fellow campers who is presumed dead by the time of this episode. You know, spoiler, but, you know, he's not. And
yeah,
but like I say, it's one of those things that, you know, it's kind of obvious to guess, but I guess for the target audience, it was kind of shocking because, again, this show does get violent. I mean, it does show even people getting killed by dinosaurs at times. So, like I say, they did not kiddify this, and I give them all the respect for that. But what happens next, basically, is Yasmina says that they need to eat and rest, as Darius sees the Main Street area, saying that there should be food, shelter, and probably a way to call for help. They then all make it to the destroyed Main Street as they wonder what happened to it. And I wonder one thing, too, because this is one question the show never answers, and it's a shame because we really need it otherwise. Did the Margarita Man make it out okay? You know, the guy was double fisting his drinks while fighting off pterodons. You know, I want to know if he made it to the ferry okay and made it out of there, you know?
Yeah.
This is great.
Yep, he's an absolute legend.
Me and my 2 margaritas will make it. Also,
Exactly.
fun fact, Yasmina is sounds very much like the same voice actress who plays Claudia in Dragon Prince. So every time I heard her speak, I was like, Claudia? Which, yeah, will trigger some people. But anyways.
Yep. And we'll definitely get to that show one day too. And one funny thing about this sequence is because like it's the Main Street area, they can't use like actual stores like Starbucks or like the bookstores and stuff like that. They can't use the actual like product placement places there. Try saying that 5 times fast. But to get around it, all of the signs are written in like a gibberish language, like not even English. Like the language they have on there, it reminded me of like the Pokemon anime, like the later seasons of it, where they started doing like some weird, like made up language. It is so weird that they did that. Go ahead, Shark.
Yeah, the dinosaurs took over their park, so they wrote everything in their own language. So that's the explanation we got here.
Perfect. That's great. But Darius points out that it looks like a fight took place between the T-Rex and something else. Brooklyn points out that it was probably the Indominus Rex, as she and Darius sees its remains and note that the Mosasaurus isn't going to be hungry anytime soon. And again, I do kind of like that. I do kind of like how they basically called back to the events of the movie that, like, yeah, the Indominus Rex was kind of just like so fearsome and scary, and then they're just taken out like that, Of course,
Yeah, I do love that they're ultimately giving nod to the first Jurassic World movie, because the first Jurassic World movie, for all intents and purposes, was a good starting point for something that was initially great, but we all know where that went. But still, the fact that this show takes place alongside Jurassic World is definitely a nice touch, especially with moments like this.
Yeah, exactly. And the fact they expand on it too really is a great thing, It's like one of those things that you really, it's like, again, this is so much better than the other movies and how it kind of expanded the world of the first one. But what happens is Sammy runs up to them and tells them that she has something for them to see. It turns out that it's not anything important, but it's a giant cardboard cutout of Brooklyn advertising a set of headphones, as the group all laugh at it, Brooklyn included. Darius sarcastically asks if she only owns one outfit, as Brooklyn says it's her signature look. Kenji then pulls out a set of headphones from the store and jokingly begs her to sign it for him. Brooklyn then notes that she hasn't posted in a few days and her followers are probably worried sick about her. And yeah, on one hand, I want to say, how do you do, fellow kids? But at the same time, can we really be surprised in the age of like Mr. Beast and Logan Paul that influencers wouldn't be posting all about them in a destroyed theme park overrun by dinosaurs? It'd be like, hey guys, my friend just got eviscerated by a velociraptor. Make sure to like and subscribe and smash the subscribe button. Hashtag dead friend.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Matt.
I mean, I disagree. I think this is perfect representation of the Zoomer generation, caring about follower count over life.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Sammy... Oh, go ahead, Angron.
I will admit that as time goes on, Brooklyn does ultimately lighten up on the content creator aspect of her whole character, because without a phone and without a proper recording device, she opens up a little more, and I do like that the series takes the time to do that and give her more character outside of just internet girl.
Yeah. No, like I said, I do like that, and like I say, I do like that they give her like character development, because let's say this way, we looked at another show with a character like this, My Little Pony G5, and Pip was basically like Brooklyn times 5,000 in the annoyance department, and thank God Brooklyn is not Pip, because Pip was not fun. Yeah. Go ahead, Shark.
I was gonna make that comparison that at least she's not like Pep, so thing.
But what happens is Sammy then brings up Brooklyn's parents might be worried, as she brushes them off with an "oh yeah, them too," which might be foreshadowing, might not be. Darius goes inside the store as Brooklyn stares in admiration of her cardboard cutout. Darius looks in the lost and found box, but only finds sunglasses and hats, and I think this is an intentional reference, but all of the hats and sunglasses, they kind of look like Dr. Grant's. So that means that Jurassic World was selling replica hats and sunglasses that Dr. Alan Grant wore, which, to be fair, is a pretty good outfit. Go ahead, Angron.
Or all the people who were wearing said sunglasses took them off in a similar vein to Alan Grant when they saw dinosaurs for the first time. No wonder they're all so lost.
Nice.
That's it. Yasmina tries the phones and finds out they're down too, as Kenji finds a set of walkie-talkies that are shaped like dinosaurs. They have a roar button and have a robot mode to make him sound like a robot. And yeah, I know exactly what's going to happen with these walkie-talkies. They're going to see Rexy and they're going to say, "She's just standing there, menacingly."
Exactly.
And then she thinks she's the maniac and she runs away and she smashes through the rest of Jurassic World.
Evil. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't go with some sort of like product placement thing, like, oh, this isn't a walkie-talkie; it's a walkie-triceratops.
Yeah. Clever. But basically, Sammy finds a book about Jurassic World and then reads about it. First about how there's stuff like, oh, there's hidden dinosaurs and the architecture hidden everywhere. That actually, this show is a lot funnier than I gave it credit for when I first started watching, because there's at least 3 or 4 good jokes that got a laugh out of me, and this is one of them. How she cheerfully says, "Oh, wow, did you know aircraft aren't allowed to fly over Jurassic World?" And she says, then she like, wait a minute. You know, it's one of those things like perfect timing, you know? One of those jokes that it really does work.
Just imagine someone reads further in the book like, "Oh, hey, a Tyrannosaurus Rex book. They have big feet. They have tiny claws. They have keen eyesight. They eviscerate their prey before ultimately eating out their innards." Hey, here's a section about dino dung.
Oh yeah, nice.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so basically, what happens though is that Brooklyn then finds a camera and says that she can use it to document what they see, and will also get a lot more followers. Which, yep, as Math said, yep. When Yasmina asks how that'll help, Brooklyn says she'll be famous too, with Kenji saying that he'll be in the video, putting on a pair of sunglasses and winking into the camera. Sammy then yells at excitement as she reads about the emergency beacon and how it was installed on Main Street after what happened in the first Jurassic Park. And this is a line that kind of confused me, because on one hand I understand what happened, but at the same time, the first Jurassic Park was never even completed. You know, they were still actually constructing it, you know, when the events of the movie happened. So it's like one of those things that, well, they wouldn't have needed to know about it in the first place. But, no, maybe it's just a hang-up I had.
Yeah.
Turns out that the beacon is battery operated and can send a distress signal 150 miles in every direction. The only problem, of course, is they don't know where it is. When Darius asks Sammy if there's any more information, she reads further in the book and finds out that the rest, and this is a direct quote, the rest of the chapter is just pictures of Dr. Wu and turtlenecks, which this is probably the funniest joke. I actually had to pause it and laugh, because just the image of that, like Dr. Wu like making like poses in like various turtlenecks, that is so funny, because yeah, he would do that. He's been responsible for everything else bad in the franchise. Why wouldn't he ruin the book too?
To take a line from Gwen from Total Drama. What a narcissist. Don't get me wrong, I still want one.
Exactly. But Darius then tells everyone to split up and that they will find the beacon no matter what. Obviously, that he's going by Scooby-Doo logic here. Kenji then says, "Affirmative, human," in the robot voice in the walkie-talkie as they all leave. We then cut to Brooklyn recording a video for her, quote, Brooklanders, about the exclusive footage that she's going to make. Kenji tells her that Brooklanders is a weird name for her fandom, as she says that she came up with it when she was 10, and then she demands him to film the scene yet again. And it's like, yeah, that's a good idea. Waste the camera battery on your stupidity nonsense, you know?
Not really much you can use it for, aside from maybe surveillance and possibly recording any convicting evidence, but who knows?
Yep, true. But basically, we then cut to Darius and Yasmina looking for the beacon, as Sammy pops up in Brooklyn's field of vision, happy to be in the video. Brooklyn tells Sammy to read from the book. Sammy then says that objects in the park are disguised as other objects to help keep with the, quote, natural illusion of the park. She points out that a set of vines are electrical cords and a rock is a trash can. And as someone who has been to theme parks like Disneyland Paris and the like, trash cans still look like trash cans. They don't disguise them as rocks because then, like, some people wouldn't know to use them, you know? It's like one of those things that, yeah, wow, Jurassic World got everything wrong. They got security wrong. They got playing God with making new dinosaurs wrong. They even got the main street wrong with, like, the trash cans. So it was doomed to failure from the start. Go ahead, Angron.
I mean, yeah, on the one hand, it's definitely a unique way to develop a park and definitely a good way to encourage a bit of wonder. But on the other hand, practicality is a little more important than aesthetics. So I agree. They might have screwed themselves over there. Also, math.
With something in the future as well.
I've been to a number of theme parks myself, and I've seen how dirty the sidewalks can be. You really think people know how to use trash cans when they actually look like trash cans?
True. Good point. Good point. So yeah, basically, what happens though is that Sammy then points out that Brooklanders is a weird name, as Brooklyn gets annoyed at that yet again. Darius and Yasmina ask if they or the others found anything, as Kenji rides by on a scooter. Oh, go ahead, Shark.
I got a question where when she's pointing out what things really are, she goes and this rock is a rock.
Yeah.
Clearly, she's not a pioneer.
Yeah. But hey, they could have used it to get home, you know? If only they knew how to drive it, they could have used that to sail across the ocean and get home. It could have been so easy. I'll go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, also, Mod Pie would definitely would claim that it's just concrete, non-natural, but she still finds it for a decent conversation. Also, the scooter bit. He has a scooter! Hopefully it's not an e-scooter, but hey.
True. But we then cut to Brooklyn telling her Brooklanders to check something out before she notices that it's a weird name too. We cut to Sammy riding the scooter, pointing out more things that are disguised as rocks, such as like drink dispensers and napkin dispensers and that, before she falls over, the camera feed cutting out as she notices she tripped over a rock yet again. So, yep. Yeah, that was another good joke that got a good laugh at me, you know?
Yeah.
Yasmina... sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Yasmina points out that maybe the beacon was destroyed, as Darius says that it has to be there. And we then cut to Rexy, who is slowly making her way towards Main Street. And obviously, there's only one reason she's going to go there. She wants to buy some Rexy license plates.
Nice.
We are out of Rexy license plates. I repeat, we are out of Rexy license plates.
Nice one.
Yeah, had to reference that somehow. But we then cut to Sammy, knowing that she found another rock that is an ordinary rock, then telling the camp fam to stay tuned, saying that that's going to be her new nickname instead of Brooklanders, which is marginally better, I guess.
Honestly, that reminds me. When she hates, when the others started saying that Brooklanders sounded weird, it reminded me of the Dragon Toby joke from Puss in Boots, where like he did not like Dragon Toby at first, but after a while it was all he could think of, so he just went with that.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. So yeah, basically though, what happens is Kenji arrives with the Stegosaurus toy, pretending to eat Darius, who is just not in the mood for it. Darius points out that Stegosaurus is a herbivore, and Kenji points out that you look like a plant in the weird dinosaur voice, and pretends to eat him some more. And it was at this moment that I came to a realization. This show is just Dawn of the Dead, but with dinosaurs.
Oh?
Yeah, it really is just like the movie Dawn of the Dead right now, but instead of the shopping mall, it's the main street, and instead of zombies, it's dinosaurs. So, unfortunately, we don't get to see Tom Savini and a bunch of other bikers show up to get eaten. Though, I would like to see what this show could have done with the heart monitor scene. Let's just put it that way. Go ahead, Shark.
Yeah, also, him using the dinosaur in front of the camera to make it look giant still looks better than Future Wars.
Oh,
yeah.
Easily. Like, he probably was trying to make a better dinosaur movie than Future War, and he succeeded. It was enjoyable, so he succeeded on that front. Go ahead, Angron.
Yeah. Also, imagine this being Shaun of the Dead. Now I just want to see a Jurassic World version of the bar scene where they're slamming pool cues on the zombie.
Yeah. Or on the dinosaurs.
Yeah, or it's just like an ankylosaurus that's currently just minding its own business, eating food, and all of a sudden they're like, all right, get off.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we did almost get a 21 Jump Street Men in Black crossover, so I think Universal making a Shaun of the Dead Jurassic World crossover definitely wouldn't have been out of the question, or would it be Jurassic The World's End? But yeah. Basically, what happens is we then cut to the group sitting around as Kenji arrives on his scooter with frozen pizza slices. The group try to eat them, but it turns out that they're so frozen over that they can't eat them. We then cut to some time later as they're trying to heat up all the pizza slices in the sun, to which I have to say, how long have these guys been there and they've never even tried making a fire?
Yeah. There is a thing that they can do with like tinfoil in the sun, but I forget the specifics. Also, they would need tinfoil, which I'm pretty sure Jurassic World doesn't have. I mean, they probably do. I don't know how this park works, but yeah. Anyways, go ahead, Math.
The show being called Camp Cretaceous, there is a stunning lack of camping skills being applied here.
Exactly.
Easily. So, basically, though, what happens is it turns out that Kenji goes to check if the pizza slices are warm enough to eat, but he finds himself ambushed by the compies. Now, the compies attack all of them as they try to throw the pizza slices at the dinosaurs, causing the mini dinosaurs to all run off to get the food. Brooklyn notes that the compies are like the rats of the dino world, to which I have to say one thing. I would love to see Compy Tui.
Nice.
You know, instead of Ratatouille, it's a compy. You know, that would have been amazing. That would have been like that. That should be something Universal does. You know, if they want another Jurassic World spinoff, do that. Go ahead, Angron.
I hear Copy Tui, and all I can think of is there's a there's a Jurassic Park version of Banjo and Kazooie.
That would also be good.
There's Pterodactylon in Tui, so
true. Very true.
Fair enough.
But Kenji tries to eat a still frozen pizza slice, but Brooklyn knocks it to the ground as they all laugh. Darius, meanwhile, Darius, meanwhile, walks to a building and laments that he can't seem to solve the problem before he's lifting his head. It turns out that when he does so, no one is on Main Street and it's all dark and spooky as he sees a figure walking past some buildings. It turns out to be Ben as Darius embraces him, saying he thought that they lost him. Ben angrily says if it was because they let him go. Darius tries to say otherwise as the scene cuts to at night as Darius tries to save Ben from falling off of the monorail. Obviously, what happened is they didn't have Homer Simpson to use in giant anchor there. Yep. Donuts. Is there anything they can't do?
Nice.
Had to reference that too. Go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, serious moment here for a second, but yeah, this moment right here really lets it sink in how serious this entire series is. Like, legit, someone was presumed dead. We know they're not, but that's for later. But but honestly, this right here definitely lets it sets in that these guys are not in a good place right now. They are on an island alone with each other with a bunch of dinosaurs that are dangerous in many rights. Some not as much, while others are definitely the bane of their existence. We have like pack-like compies, we have large sauropods, we have the larger theropods like T-Rex, which we'll get to in a moment, and like Carnotaurus. These kids are pretty much in hell. Let me put it that way. They are in hell. They are managing, but they are definitely not in the best place to ultimately be of sound mind or do any sort of like childlike shenanigans. This is hell for them.
Oh no, I give them all the credit in the world for like that as well, showing just how realistically how horrifying it would be to be in like a Jurassic World in the events of the movie. They don't make it seem like fun or anything like that. I think that it is probably the first one like that since, honestly, I think Jurassic Park 3. It's the first time they ever tried anything like that, you know?
Mm.
So basically, what happens though is Ben demands that Darius drop him, but Darius says that he will find a way to get them home. Then, when he looks away, Ben has turned into Darius's father, who slips and falls as Darius screams in shock. And this is really surprising because we've gone from Jurassic Park Camp Cretaceous to Cliffhanger Camp Stallone. And I guess this means that we're going to see Darius kill a guy on a set of stalagmites.
Gosh.
Wow.
Yeah. I want to see how John Lithgow gets involved in this one too, but that's for another time. Darius, of course, wakes up screaming as it turns out to be a nightmare as Yasmina ends up calming him down. We see that the others are asleep, with Kenji briefly waking up to talk into the walkie-talkie and fall asleep before pressing the giant roar button on it again, and... Yep, pretty good joke there. Darius, meanwhile, says that he has to find the beacon, but he's not trying hard enough. Yasmina then begins to do one-armed push-ups, causing Darius to remark that, quote, "That's the last time I eat unthawed pizza," because he still thinks it's a nightmare. Another joke that got a pretty good laugh out of me, I'm not going to lie. But Yasmina then tells Darius that when she races, she sometimes gets so pressured that she can't focus, meaning that she has to do exercises like that to try and calm down and have fun. And it was at that moment I realized, oh, Yasmina's the Rainbow Dash of the group.
Or at the very least, she's the dead serious one of the group, as opposed to being the thrill seeker.
Yeah, that too. But it's like anytime you have a group of 6 in anything, and I mean anything, you can equate them to the main 6. I really do believe that. At any time you have a group of 6 and any kind of show, I think you can find ways to connect it back to the main 6 in some way or another. But
to be honest, Kenji would be the Rainbow Dash of the group.
Probably. But meanwhile, Darius is confused by this as Yasmina asks what he would do for fun. We then cut to them at the Jurassic World Discovery Walk as Darius is overjoyed, reading all the various dinosaur facts in the plaques. And again, I like that you get to see how enthusiastic he is about dinosaurs because he really is the only one in the camp group that is like a fan of dinosaurs. Like the other ones were there for all like different reasons and that. But the reason Darius got to be on Camp Cretaceous, he won a Jurassic World video game and even got a thing from Mr. DNA that said, "You're the first person to beat our game. Congratulations. You get to go to Camp Cretaceous." And it's one of those things like, yeah, okay, someone would have hacked that game in like maybe 30 minutes after it was released nowadays, you know? Just skip to the end.
Maybe.
Not a
Yeah,
very realistic
also
setup.
him saying, "You're the first person to beat the Jurassic World video game." I'm pretty sure he just said that as like a sort of like pre-programmed pity prize. Also, if we were on the island, we would 100% be a lot more into the dinosaurs than most.
Yeah, exactly. So, basically though, Darius then reads a dinosaur fact about camouflage and then gets an idea of where the beacon could be. We cut to Main Street during the day as Darius tells you that the beacon is hidden and that, as Sammy said, things don't always look like what they seem. After the group searches for a bit, Yasmina ends up banging against a palm tree, showing that it is made of metal. And this is one thing that really doesn't make sense to me because if Jurassic World was such a huge theme park with like hundreds of thousands of visitors a day and stuff like that, statistically, someone would have bumped into that palm tree sometime and would have found out that it was made of metal. Statistically, somebody would have done that way before they did. So, you know, it's one of those things. I'll go ahead, Shark.
Even just resting will be enough to find out. But yeah, this is where I really questioned the park design. Like, hey, isn't the beacon supposed to be for emergencies? Like the ones that are happening right now? Why are you hiding something so important in a place absolutely nobody will easily find? Why if they were being attacked by dinosaurs right now? And why is it in the main street? Shouldn't something like this be like in the offices of the park or where security is?
Yeah, exactly. Like I say, it's one of those things that when you stop and think about it, it doesn't make much sense, but it's still funny in a way. So anyway, Angron?
Yeah, I do agree, but I will say this: it gave the group an excuse to ultimately do a little more. Do a little more looking, and it also ties into the park being camouflaged a bit to look more natural. So I'll give it a pass, and they do eventually find it, but we'll get to that in a moment. Anyways, Math.
Well, this is based around Jurassic Park, so they view that as safety regulations as a thing to troll with.
Very true. Very, very true. They didn't learn anything from John Hammond's mistakes, so damn about that. So basically, though, what happens is Sammy opens up the palm tree to find basically nothing inside. Brooklyn makes her redo it for the camera, with Sammy then doing it in a more stagey way. The group all check all the palm trees to see that every one of them is empty. Kenji here then uses two words that really just, kind of I did not like that. He uses the words failboat and brosive in a single sentence. This is the part that definitely made me feel like, oh, how do you do, fellow kids?
Yeah, I agree, or at least I would if it wasn't for the fact that Failboat was mentioned. Shout out to Failboat, by the way. Who, he is a YouTuber that I sometimes watch on occasion. And the bro stuff part, I personally didn't mind. It's been used enough that I don't really see it as anything wrong, and not exactly on the same level as something like Poggers or Cringe or stuff like that.
True.
Anyway,
The
Shark.
dinosaur plus. So yeah.
That's true. That's true. But basically, what happens though is Darius notes that one palm tree is missing as they see it being dragged along the landscape by Rexy. Rexy takes the palm tree and places it in her nest. Then she roars and runs off. Darius is amazed at this, knowing that Rexy never did this when the park guests were watching her, and indicating that she is returning to her roots and building a nest on Main Street. I do like this joke. He says, "Oh wow, that's great," and then all the others all glare at him, and this says, "Oh no, that's terrible." Like the dinosaur nerd in him has to be like the survivor with him. It's like, "Oh yeah, that's awesome. Oh wait, that's not good. We can't call for help." They kind of laugh at me. And again, I do like this. I like the concept of showing what the dinosaurs are getting up to now that the humans have left Jurassic, World.
Yeah, that honestly, you just had to remind me of that one moment from the Pokemon Entei movie. That's good. Oh wait, that's bad. Or wait, it was the Lugia movie. Never mind.
Or like Homer Simpson, that's good. That's bad. That's bad. Oh, classic. But
Yep.
anyway, what happens is
Also cuss. That's bad.
yeah, but it comes with a free yogurt. Classic. But yeah, Brooklyn then uses the camera to see that the palm tree Rexy has taken does have the beacon in it. Kenji asks the others what they're going to do about it, saying that he doesn't want to enter a T-Rex lair. He then laments that he wanted a single day where they don't have to worry about being stranded or dinosaurs or remembering what happened with Ben. And I like this. I do like that they do this. They show that this guy who's doing like a macho, like rich kid posturing. He's still a scared, frightened man. I like that they do that. I really did like that they did that. They give them realistic levels of vulnerability.
Exactly. This is that wisdom that I mentioned earlier. Like, this is not a great place for them. This is hell. So it would stand to reason that they would all ultimately falter for a moment and have stuff like this be shown, because deep down they are scared. They are on their own, and as far as they're concerned, until this beacon is found, nobody is coming to save them. That beacon is their hope, and they have to brave certain things like Rexy and other dinosaurs just to get off the island. And honestly, I know some people give this show flack for the kids being ultimately too smart, or at the very least on par with the Land Before Time group, like Littlefoot and whatnot. But I'm sorry, them being smart here is honestly a pretty good thing. Like, most people in the the other Jurassic Park movies would be absolutely dumbfounded, or at the very least do very, very stupid stuff, except for one person. But no, it's all 5 of them. They are actively all being smart and playing it as straight as possible. Like, I very much appreciate that, especially stuff like The Thing, where everyone is agreeable and actually plays it smart there as well. Like, I really like when films do that, and shows even.
Yeah, exactly. Like I say, it's one of those things that really, really makes you realize just how well written this show is. And well, we'll hope that the sequel show can catch up with this. But for now, basically, what happens though is Darius tells them they can't give up and peers over the fence at the beacon. He then asks Kenji if there are any more walkie-talkies over at the gift shop. We then cut to Rexy leaving her lair and storming through Main Street, scaring off the compies as she does so. And this is probably one of the most badass moments she does so far in this episode. And I want someone to play Staying Alive over this sequence, because it would fit perfectly.
Nice.
But she then walks into the foliage as Sammy hides in a tree and, with the walkie-talkie, tells the others to go for it. Darius and Kenji get in there and begin climbing the nest. Darius grabs a piece of wood, nearly breaks it, and falls. Before we cut to Kenji, who reaches for a bone and recoils in disgust, saying he'll be the one who sprains his ankle next time. Yasmina says that he wouldn't be able to handle it in a sarcastic tone. And again, their relationship feels very, very realistic. And, like I say, you really feel like these are people thrust in a horrible situation who end up bonding, mostly out of necessity,
Yeah.
But the pair of them then make it to the palm tree and open it up, only to see the beacon trapped inside. Kenji tries to pull out the beacon, only for it to be stuck. Darius, meanwhile, says that they don't have to get the beacon out. All they have to do is turn it on. We then cut to Sammy hiding in the tree before Rexy approaches it, sniffing the air as if she senses something. We then cut back to Darius and Kenji as they use a skull fragment from another dinosaur to try and force the beacon out of there, then back to Sammy. Sammy basically is still hiding in the tree as Rexy looks up directly at her, causing Sammy to freeze. But it turns out, and this is another moment that really actually got a good chuckle out of me, Rexy wasn't looking at Sammy. She was just looking for a stick to use for her nest as she picks it up and then trots off. And like I say, that is just a moment that really, again, a cute little bit of misdirection there.
Yep.
But Sammy then nearly slips, catching the walkie-talkie on her boot as it makes a loud dinosaur roar. She only just barely manages to get it back as she tells Kenji and Darius to get out of there because Rexy is returning. Brooklyn and Yasmina also try to tell the pair of them to get out of there, but Kenji managed to run down the walkie-talkie's batteries by playing with it all the time. And again, I like that they did that. I like that they actually had his actions having consequences. Like, he goofed off with the walkie-talkie throughout the whole episode. Of course it's not going to work anymore when you really need it. Go ahead, Aaron.
This right here definitely is more of that wisdom I'm talking about. Like, the stuff they do ultimately impacts them later. It's like Until Dawn, except with dinosaurs. Honestly, I kind of want to see a Jurassic Park / World game that's in a similar vein to Until Dawn. That would honestly kind of be.
I'm really shocked they haven't done that because we really need. I mean, they had the Telltale game, which is pretty good, but
yeah, I did not know about this.
Yeah, it's actually kind of good. I haven't seen it, but I've seen clips of it. It seems pretty fun, and yeah, basically, definitely something to check out. But getting back to this, what happens though is they realize they have to stall Rexy, but don't know how until Brooklyn ends up getting an idea. We cut to Brooklyn running down Main Street as Darius and Kenji finally get the beacon out, only for the ground to shake because it turns out that Rexy is home and she is not happy. The pair try to hide as she returns to add the stick to her nest, only for Brooklyn to begin talking. Go ahead, Shark.
Now, in these moments, the animation gets kinda weird because there is a quick shot of Rexy reacting, and then she quickly turns around, and honestly, it kinda almost looks like she turns around immediately, like she's walking in, and then she turns back and walks out, and it reminds me of Grandpa Simpson walking into the burlesque house and seeing Bart and going away. That's the best way I can describe it.
That's
is
honestly kind of funny.
That's great. That is great.
That's the best way I can describe the way our Rexy turns around in that shot.
Exactly.
A little bit.
Yep. So basically, what happens next is that we then see Brooklyn standing on the end of Main Street as Rexy charges at her, seemingly trampling the woman. But we then cut to Rexy staring in confusion as it turns out it was the cardboard cut of Brooklyn. As it turns out, the speaking is the camera recording she made earlier. And I love Rexy's confused face here. It's like, gee, the people I crushed don't get that flat. You know, it's like that kind of reaction. Like, what's going on here? She sniffs. Yep. She even sniffs at the cod a few times, and where she roars repeatedly as the group runs off with the beacon. Let's see who's first up here. Go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, honestly, I saw this and I was like, woman, you just took down a cardboard standee. There's nothing for you to really be that triumphant over. I mean, great that you're defending your territory, but like, really? Was it really? Yeah, was it really worth doing a roar over? Anyways, Math.
So the things that Brooklyn was saying was a recording for one of her videos. So when Rexy let out that roar, all I can think is that Rexy was saying, Brooklanders is such a bad name.
Perfect. Oh man, they should have done like Critters and had like subtitles for the dinosaurs so they could have put that in. That would have been great.
Yeah.
But Darius then happily says that they're all saved. Something that is very, very funny because this show ran for like 3 more seasons before they were saved. So it did not work, evidently.
We'll see.
Even watching this for the first time, it's like, oh boy, they're getting saved. And it's the first episode of the second season. Yay!
Yeah, exactly. And it ran for 3 more. So it's like one of those things that, you're going to be here for a while. Go ahead, Angron.
Much like the D&D crew of the 80s, you are definitely going to be here for a while. Also, Samurai Jack.
That too. And Lost Stories. But Darius then apologizes for breaking Brooklyn's camera, but she says that it was an old model anyway, and her followers deserve better picture quality than that. Sammy asks where they should go, as it turns out Main Street is not an option if it turns out that Rexy is using it basically to forage for stuff. Basically, Darius says that they just have to go somewhere until they're eventually rescued, and the episode itself ends with the beacon going off in an unknown location, and we'll find out where it happens in a few seasons from now, where it went to. But yeah, that's it for us talking about the episode in particular. So yeah, Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous actually got really good critical reviews and seems to have been reasonably popular. I mean, it got 5 seasons, so I mean, how could it not, It actually did well enough to where it got a sequel show called Jurassic World Chaos Theory. The sequel show is, right off the bat, is off to a really bad start because it takes place during the events of Jurassic World Dominion. So that's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I am going to be going into that series with cautious optimism because, yeah, if it's taking place alongside Dominion, then there's a lot you can ultimately glean from that. But if it means we get more Blue, them interacting with Blue maybe, and maybe having the series not be as bad as Dominion, then I'm for it. But if not, then there's always Rebirth.
Yeah. Like I say, the thing is, too, is that it seems like just judging from episode synopsis, I might be totally wrong here. It might be, like, totally acceptable, but it seems that Chaos Theory did the same mistake that, like, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and especially Dominion did. They overstuffed it with way too many things that really no one is interested in. I mean, I might be wrong. We're definitely going to do an episode on it, so, but we'll definitely have to see when that happens. But judging from that, I'm not as enthusiastic about this. But who knows? Maybe it's good. But getting back to Camp Cretaceous, this is way better than the other 2 Jurassic World movies. I dare say that if this was like a live-action film instead, and you know, it was like a live action film. The other two were animated spin-offs. Like this would have critically made so much, you know, more money. But at the same time, Jurassic World is some franchise that makes money despite of quality rather than because of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I definitely I definitely think that Jurassic World definitely benefited from this series because there's so much here that it did that the Jurassic World films did not. They gave us more slice of life stuff. They gave us more dinosaur action. They gave us just basically a lot more than anything that Jurassic World did. More character, more world building, more just calmer moments, more like actual impactful horror. Like this is something that definitely definitely needed to happen.
Yeah, I definitely can see that. Matthew, you were saying?
Yeah, so obviously the animated series is better than the movies because high bar we've set. I know.
Yeah.
It's when I went into this though, I was thinking, oh, okay, so it's an animated series, so they're actually going to focus more on the dinosaurs. And they're going to have the dinosaurs do more stuff because it's animated, so you can actually do that. And just from this episode alone, and I can tell from the rest of the series as well, it's basically, haha, no human drama, go brr.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the third one is giant bugs go burr.
Hmm.
But
Not
yeah,
all the time, but yeah.
most of the time. Let's do it this way, most of the time. And yeah, that's going to lead to the question of the week, which is, how would you improve the Jurassic World movies? And I'll go first. And I feel like the biggest mistake the Jurassic World movies did not do, I feel more than anything, was like what happened in between Jurassic Park 3 and Jurassic World. Like, I want to see that kind of thing. Like, how the hell did we go from like Jurassic Park 3, you know, Isla Nublar is totally, you know, abandoned. You know, Hammond wanted to be a dinosaur nature preserve, basically off limit to all of humans. It's restricted, both Isla Nublar and Isla Sorna, to basically being like, no, you know what? I'm going to try again. You know, I didn't learn anything. You know, I'm going to try doing Jurassic Park again, but we're going to make it larger, you know? It's one of those things that it's like, there's no connection to it for me, you know? But
Yeah,
also, how. Oh, is that good?
yeah, I get what you mean.
But yeah, I also feel another thing they could do to improve the Jurassic World movies was, and this is a really simple thing, focus on the dinosaurs. We want to see the dinosaurs, not cloning, not like, you know, anything with giant bugs or other stupid stuff like that. It's like people come to see the dinosaurs. And there's other things you could do with it because Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, infamously, the whole marketing campaign was the dinosaurs are in our world now. It's their world and our world coming together, and you know, oh, Ian Malcolm's going to be back, and all a lie, all a complete utter lie, because Ian Malcolm was in there for maybe 2 minutes behind a desk, and the dinosaurs in quote unquote our world was literally just them in a stupid mansion for 90% of the runtime. You know, it's one of those things. It's like it feels like the Jason Takes Manhattan of the movie, where it's like they promise something, but then they give us something else. In Jason Takes Manhattan case, it was like, oh, we're gonna give you Jason Voorhees, you know, in Manhattan, you know, on the Statue of Liberty, and it's like, okay, here's Jason on a cruise ship, and then he's gonna be in Vancouver, except for one shot in Times Square. But here you go, give us your money. It feels like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But basically, yeah, my biggest way I think you can improve the movie seriously is something that they were going to do. And keep in mind, I'm probably just saying this because of the conceit of the podcast, but still, I feel they really should have brought back the dino human hybrids idea because infamously, they were going to make a Jurassic Park 4, not Jurassic World. It was called Jurassic Park 4. It was the military using dino DNA and splicing it with humans to make like dinosaur soldiers that they could control and send into like other places and that. And would it have been stupid? Maybe.
Maybe.
But it would have been better than Fallen Kingdom and Dominion, I will say that, and possibly Rebirth, so I'll see about that when we get to it. But yeah, that's very much my answer for how I would firstly improve the Jurassic World franchise. But Angron, what would you do to fix it up, you think?
pretty much do the dino-human idea. Make it lean a little more towards dino. Have them be intelligent dinos. Like have them a little bit wrestle with the concept of no longer being fully human, and like at some point adapting to just basically living in real life in however they ultimately do that. The closest we got with something like that is the TMNT Archie comics, where Rocksteady and Bebop end up on this planet thanks to a deity by the name of Cherubay, who ultimately sends the bad guys to their own planet, where they can ultimately not cause any more harm and just basically live at peace with the setting that she ultimately created. And for Rocksteady and Bebop, that was basically an entire savanna planet where the animalistic side of their mutations ultimately shined through a little bit, like, and stuff like clothes and stuff like money and whatnot ultimately fell to the wayside. And for a time, and at least until they decided to go back to Earth and get human food, they were happy. They liked this. They ultimately embraced their more animalistic side, and that's honestly something that I kind of want to see Jurassic. That's what kind of want to see Jurassic Park / World do a little bit, like delve on this idea of like identity and what that ultimately means, at least for the dino humans. Mic drop moment.
Makes
No,
a
no,
lot-
definitely. I understand completely. Like, yeah, everything you said, 100% correct. You know, because it's one of those things. Like, it is such a missed opportunity. You know, for them to like not do something like that. You know.
Definitely.
Yeah. Really something that they easily they could have done. They so easily could have done, and they didn't go with it. And like I say, it really is a shame. You know, because it could have been great, but regardless, they didn't go with it. But yeah,
Yeah.
great choice right there. So, Math, how would you improve the Jurassic World franchise?
I would do what the cowards at Universal have been teasing since Jurassic Park 2 in previews or trailers, but never did. Hey, it's a post-apocalyptic world. Dinosaurs have retaken the planet. There's pockets of civilization, if any civilization left at all. Go.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah, my movie would basically just be like, oh, hey, here's this group of people looking for some MacGuffin that will allow them to claw some civilization back. But to do that, they have to go through non-stop deadly dinosaurs that are trying to kill them for the entire movie. Dinosaurs in my dinosaur movie. How weird.
yeah, exactly. And the thing is, too, is you kind of got your wish, but with the wrong sci-fi franchise, because they did that with Planet of the Apes. You know.
Oh yeah, that's heavily what I'm basing this off of, because the new trilogy for Planet of the Apes is exactly what I wanted from a Planet of the Apes. Why can't you do that with Jurassic Park?
I know it's one of those things that it's so surprising because, like you said, it would be interesting to see a Jurassic Park where the dinosaurs win instead of losing. Because, and apparently in Rebirth, they can only live in certain pockets of in the world now. You know, kind of hopefully not too many spoilers there, but apparently that's the concept of the movie, that the dinosaurs can only live in a few pockets of the world, and it's like one of those things that why don't you reverse it? Why don't you have the humans being able to do that? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like I say, that too is another great thing. And like I say, you really are surprised why they didn't take in that direction. I guess they might have thought maybe it was too heavy for a Jurassic World movie, Jurassic Park rather. But yeah, no, I definitely can see where you're coming from there. So let's see, Shark, what would your answer be to fix the Jurassic World franchise?
Well, it is more or less what has been said here. Like, it's clear that the dinosaurs, especially in the newer movies, are just here for, oh, look at the cool dinosaurs, but they don't really do much with them. Like, take Dominion, for example, the whole idea of dinosaurs in our world, but most of the time they're just in the background because we have to focus on the humans. And even so, there's like chase scenes and attack scenes. Well, the they never destroy a building. They never have a giant T-Rex in the giant city, and it's like, why are you not taking advantage of this? Well, it's clear. We just want the dinosaurs on the screen so we can call this movie Jurassic World. So yeah, the main issue is, guys, it's a franchise about dinosaurs. Please give the dinosaurs more focus and more to do. Don't just have them there because you need them there. And yeah, like I said, have more concept like the dinosaur people. That's like, come on, you are doing everything at this point. Why not try that? Might as well, don't you think?
At this point, like I say, the only movie that actually gave us that was Lost World Jurassic Park, believe it or not. That was the only one that gave us a scene like that, with the T-Rex, which sadly is a male T-Rex, rampaging through San Diego, destroying the bus, destroying, drinking the pool water, killing, a dog and that, and attacking an apartment and things like that, More like that would be good. And yeah, like you say, like things like that, or even honestly, you've done so many silly stuff at this point. Like, I would not be even offended if they brought time travel in the series at this point, because like why not go whole Sound of Thunder about it,
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's basically accept your absurdity at this point, please. That's helpful in some cases.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those things that definitely, I think we can all agree that Jurassic World is really, really good, but the Jurassic World sequels really dropped the ball. And it's one of those things that it really is surprising that, that they did that, because really they could have done anything and they could have printed money. I mean, they do print money. Right now, they definitely make they make so much money regardless of quality right now, basically. But the thing is it really is a shame, because it shows basically how, it basically shows just how audiences will just watch things regardless of quality, and it really, really is a shame,
Yep.
Yep. But regardless, now it's time for the question of the week, which brings us to not question of the week, rather, forgive me, the Dragoness Scale, which basically is going to have us rank Rexy again. Now, this is interesting because, number one, it's the first time we've ranked Rexy on her own, because in all the other ones, we ranked other ones. Like, for example, the first Jurassic Park, which is done more than 2 years ago already. Jesus, where's time go by? We ranked Rexy and the Velociraptors and the Dilophosaurus and the Brontosaurus and all the others. Like, this is the first time, I think, ever with anything Jurassic Park related that we're doing just one individual dinosaur. Now, with that being said, I'm going to give Rexy an 8. Yeah, she didn't have a lot of screen time, compared to like other dinosaurs or, female, dragons and everything like that we've done. But at the same time, she is the central conflict. I like that they give her personality. I like that they have her do like dinosaur-like type action, which is really, really great. And again, it's one of those things that really, really is well made, because it really just took the character of like Rexy from the first one, and it really made her into the main antagonist of this episode. Now, is she the main antagonist in others? I'm not sure. Kind of a shame we didn't get to see Blue, but that's neither here nor there. But regardless, I really do like that they actually made her imposing and threatening, like how she was in the original, Even in Jurassic World, she wasn't really threatening. She was like the hero at the end or anything like that, or like the Deus Ex Machina. Here, they actually made her a monster again, or rather an antagonist, and that is really, really a good thing. So, yeah, she's going to get an 8 out of 10 for me for all those reasons alone. Angron, what would you give her?
I'm gonna go a little lower and give her a 7 out of 10. I do agree that she didn't get that much time in this series, as well as I do agree she didn't get as much time as others, and she ultimately wasn't as prevalent as some other dinos in this series that we'll no doubt cover later. But I do admit that having her be the actual threat that she was, and not just a legendary Godzilla-esque anti-hero, But yeah, the fact that she's kind of underused, and the fact that her moments here aren't as glorious as others. I mean, overall, it works, and I do very much like that she has a very fitting and very interesting interaction with our heroes. It works. A lot of it does work, but I just wish they did more with her and ultimately had it so that she didn't just come in at the last third just to be a relative obstacle. That being said, I do like that they gave her a bit more personality, like she's making a nest, going back to her roots, and just ultimately relaxing, at least before Fallen Kingdom happens. But we'll get to that later. In any case, yeah, 7 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I definitely can see why, because again, she's one of those. Again, it really does feel like this show does everything Jurassic World did better, and I definitely can see where it's coming from with a lot of it. So, anyway, let's see. Math, what would you give her?
Yeah, so I do like the way that they have designed her for the series. The dinosaurs actually look good in this animation style, so kudos to them for at least understanding, make the dinos look good. That's more than the movies did. So pat on the back for that. You got one part of the dinos really right. The issue is, and I feel like this is a thing where we're kind of, I'm trying to compare this character in a vacuum, but she's not anywhere near as has much personality or as much character as Rexy from the original movies, and therein lies your problem. Is it's the same Rexy, and this feels like discount Rexy more than anything else. Even Blue got more characterization, and I really do like when the dinosaurs have more characterization and more personality. And I guess maybe just in this one episode, it didn't feel like it. It felt like it, with my joke of her roar being, "Oh, Brooklanders is a bad name." That's more me putting on a personality rather than that being her. She just felt like a typical dinosaur in this, rather than any kind of personality to the dinosaur. So I land a little bit lower than even you guys at a 6 with that, but I really cannot emphasize enough. I like the way that it's animated, and if they do more personality with her in the series, I would have loved to have seen that. I just did not get that here.
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to get more personality. I have yet to watch more of the series, but I wholeheartedly agree that she definitely needed more personality outside of just being an animal in the wild. I mean, yeah, she has a little bit more personality. She isn't as territorial or as fierce as something like Toro, but I do admit that she definitely needed a bit more personality. The films did deliver on that a little bit, but yeah, here this was needed the most. Like, if you're really gonna do the movies, if you're really gonna do the movies better, then this was the place to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from there. And yeah, like you said, comparing it to the movie, it's definitely not like as much personality, but at the same time, I don't know. There's ways like you can make it work, I think. But regardless, like I said, still a really, really interesting one. So let's see. Shark, what would your ranking be for Rexy?
Find interesting that instead of just creating a whole new T-Rex, or this is supposedly to be a random T-Rex, no, they actually brought her back. So it's like, oh, neat, there's a connection to the movies here. And of course, since this is more, again, a kiddie-fi or for more younger audience, of course, they couldn't make her as threatening or violent as in the original film. So of course, it loses her original charm of the original movie. But okay, still. I actually like that she actually has a reason to be like the final obstacle. She's making a nest in the park. They could have easily made her like, oh, she just happened to show up at the worst moment just to be yet another obstacle for the climax. But no, there is a reason why she is here. So okay, I actually gave it thought to that. And yeah, there's maybe not as much as a movie, but there's a bit personality here. Like, her being confused when he crushed the cardboard box, that's a funny gag, and the roar that can be interpreted in many ways. Maybe one of them, maybe Matt's right, maybe she's actually saying that the Brooklanders suck or something like that. So, and yeah, effort was put in translating the design. She looks good for what the show is, so she's fine, but well, we have to compare her to the movie version of her as well, and that's where she kind of becomes weakened. But if she was a character on her own on his show, she'd definitely be getting an 8, maybe not even a 9. But since she's supposed to be the same character from the before, I'm gonna go with a 7 for her.
Okay. So yeah, pretty interesting list of scores here. Kind of more middling than other ones, but I can kind of see why in the fact that it's comparing her from this episode to again Jurassic again the original Jurassic Park, one of the greatest movies of all time, and definitely some of the best dinosaurs in that of all time. And that's an episode I really wish we could redo, but it would take a long time, maybe sometime in the future. But we'll see what happens with that. But that is also going to be it for this week. If you have any questions, or if you want to tell us how you would do a crossover between this show and Dawn of the Dead, you can feel free to email us at fierydiscourse@outlook.com. Visit us at Twitter at twitter.com/fierydiscourse. Visit us on Blue Sky at Blue Sky Fiery Discourse. Be sure to subscribe to the Fiery Discourse YouTube channel, subscribe to the playlist, like and hit the bell icon, leave a comment. Any and all comments are appreciated. Also, one of our co-hosts, Lucky Evie, is looking to move to a group home in the UK. That will also be in the description. Any all help for that is appreciated. Next week, we'll be talking about the 1998 Disney's Animal Kingdom theme park attraction, Dinosaur, also known as Countdown to Extinction, for our next episode of Jurassic July. Going to be a lot of fun talking about another theme park ride, especially one that is so beloved as this one. It's probably one of those theme park rides that is way more better known than the movie it's based on, which was, of course, 2000's Dinosaur. So it'll definitely be interesting to see about that.
Yep.
Also to talk about with it, especially, and like with the Shrek 4D episode, we're also going to be talking about like the line queue and the gift shop, and that'll be a lot of fun to talk about those elements too. But until then, thank you all so much for watching, and take care.
Laters. Come back soon.
Adios.
Peace out.
See you all next week.